Hey everybody, hope you guys are enjoying your week, and it is interview time here on That Wrestling Show, and I have with me members of the Skulk, AR Fox, and Adrian Alanis.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hey. Guys, we're ready for tonight here at the 4, and we're ready for this Evolve weekend, man. Hey.
Yes, you guys have a very busy weekend. I keep up with the newsletter that WWN sends out. But before we dive into everything, why don't you tell everybody what you guys have been up to as of late?
Oh, man.
Oh, dude. I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been living at my wrestling school throughout the week and then traveling the United World, like, the country. Like, yeah, but mainly it's really just, for me, is running the school here I got in Atlanta, the WWE 4, is my main focus. I'm not even that interested in that many indie shows like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My love for wrestling is more than ever. Like, I still wrestle every day, but I got my own rings, so, but other than that, really just Evolve and, like, trying to share everything I learned from them to my younger guys,
right,
who have like the craziest potential, like, to go there, or NXT or WWE, hopefully, you know what I mean? So it's like my main goal is trying to, like, make that happen for people. I'm not worried about having, I just like to go have matches at my school and have my guys out.
Yeah.
All right, and how about yourself?
What about you, Alanis?
Yeah.
I'm here every day. Every day with you, Fox. Don't get enough of you, man.
He sleeps on the bottom bunk.
Ah. All right. So.
It's like summer camp here.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Nah, for real, it's like
how
a
much you stay
dojo.
here.
Yeah, it's like a dojo, man. I got everything I need in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hollywood Hogan's.
So, you guys have a very big weekend, very busy weekend coming up in Queens and in Brooklyn, New York for Evolve 119 and 120. And you both are in big matches on the 19th, or the 18th, pardon me, in Brooklyn. Adrian, you and Leon Ruff, you're going to be in a tag scramble match.
Yes.
Against John Silver and Alex Reynolds and two other teams that, as of this recording, have not been announced unless I'm wrong.
One of them, I forgot their names individually, but they're called Lotus.
I forgot their names, no promo.
They're called Lotus, and they impressed at a WWN seminar, so Gabe is bringing them back. And then the fourth tag team will be the winners of this seminar coming up.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah.
Never heard of them.
All right, I got the names. Juntai and Gavin Quinn. That's who it is.
Yes, that's the Lotus team. I believe that's what they're called.
Never heard of them. No.
And then, of course, if you guys win, then you will challenge the Street Profits for the Evolve Tag Team Championship. Now, I just got to ask, how do you guys, both of you, feel about NXT guys coming into Evolve Wrestling?
It's a huge learning experience, honestly. It's something that we never expected happening at Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So early on in our careers, getting to learn from the Street Profits, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano coming up. It's these guys we didn't expect to be sharing locker rooms with so early in our career. And it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. That shit is, like, literally, like, unbelievable because I've been doing this for a while now, over 10 years. And, like, it's just... Yeah, it's literally unbelievable, and that kind of says it all right there. Like, it's unimaginable. Like, it's crazy. It's a dream in itself. For me especially, being able to work with these guys.
A lot of dream matches that you wouldn't expect to see. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then AR, you are going to be in the main event on Evolve 119 in a. I guess, well, no, I'm not going to guess. It is a dream tag team. You and Johnny Gargano, who used to be in Evolve, used to be in Dragon Gate USA. You guys are teaming up. You're going to face Austin Theory and Josh Briggs, who both have been making a name for themselves.
sorry to cut you off, but we also used to team up in Dragon Gate in Japan. When I did my tours, the other gaijin there was Gargano. So we actually got pretty close because we were the only other people we could talk to because unless we had Wi-Fi, we couldn't do anything. So, yeah, me and Johnny are pretty cool, and we teamed a bunch of times before.
Now, how is it going to be when you team up with him again for the first time in so many years? Do you think the chemistry's still going to be there? Do you think it's going to change a little bit?
I'm looking. I think he's just like awesome. So I think it's going to be sick. Yeah, I think we'll be pretty cool. I'm pretty easygoing as well too. Like, so I think it's going to be pretty smooth.
I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the Skulk managing at ringside.
Yeah. I've been thinking of it in like a crazy way though, because he has gone on for the past couple of years now, and I've obviously seen what he's doing, and like, so it's almost like for myself, like I'm just trying to watch my personal performance compared to his. Yeah, pretty much like in a friendly competition, because Johnny was always, we kind of, even though he's not, we don't do the same moves, we kind of wrestle the same style. So, and he was always in my list like one of the best, always, before, he went up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. So for me, it's fun. It's like when I wrestle Austin, it's like, damn, I'm being on a poster next to him. So now it's like I got to perform next to him. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But now it's Johnny, and we used to do it before. So, it's cool,
And I'll just say real quick, because I got a chance to see, well, actually both you and Johnny, a few years ago for WrestleMania weekend, and Gargano had an amazing match with Shingo. And if I remember correctly, Fox, you were with Shima in a tag match that went on before. I might be wrong on that, but you guys wrestled the Young Bucks that night, and those were two very good matches.
Yeah. I don't. It's like, as crazy as it sounds, I don't even remember these matches, man, anymore. But like for real though, it's just crazy to even hear that though. Or the Young Bucks that's crazy to hear, and that's super cool. But like the fact that I was teaming with Shima was crazy, because he's like looked at as like almost a god in Japan. When I went there, it was crazy. So like. I'd have to see the match again because I don't remember it all.
Now,
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. Now, with 120, and I'm looking at the card, Adrian, you don't have a match. What's going on there, man? What's going on?
I mean, who's Vince?
That's what I was trying to figure out. They said more with Bishop King and others, and they put me with the others. So.
Yeah, you're going to call him the other, he's going to be tag team champion.
I'm about to be tag team champion, so they're going to have to mix the room up.
Exactly. You could be tag champs by the time you get the Queens on that Saturday. So.
Could.
Well, okay, let me take that back. When?
Exactly. Okay.
That's my guy, man. Yo, you want to be part of the Skulk, man?
Hey, I got to cover my ass sometimes, so you know.
All right.
Now, Fox, you have a big match on 120 as well. You're going to face Anthony Henry, #1 contender match.
Yeah, it's not a big match for me like that, because he doesn't have no championship. You know what I mean? Or, but, it's involved, man. He ain't putting it on line, is he? I don't think so. But, I beat him a whole bunch of times. You know what I mean?
#1 contenders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just blow him out the water. Basically, I'm the champion.
Another match with fear in the future.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to.
Give you a belt.
I mean, not to cut you off, but I'm talking to the original Evolve champion right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. All of this stuff is just wild to me because I'm like the last person. Probably anyone that knows me in my personal life would be like, yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy that I was just doing these. I was just wrestling now. You know what I mean? Just wrestling. I just love wrestling. And then I was just winning, getting championships, and then having what people thought were like good matches. And then over time, I just got a ridiculous amount of accomplishments right now. Like, the respect I feel from the locker room is like what I remember doing to like pretty much like ex-WWE guys. Like, guys are like really nice to me. Everyone always asks me for, like, it's pretty mind-blowing to me now. But it also at the same time makes sense because for the past 12 years I've been obsessed with it on some unhealthy level. So, yeah, it's crazy. The Evolve champ and first Evolve style battle winner and Drag Day USA tag champ. It was nuts.
You've done a lot. You've really done a lot.
Mm.
And if you can't make it to both of those shows, folks, WWN Live is going to stream them live. Club WWN, $9.99 a month. It's the same as that other network thing that people talk about. I don't know, but anyway, you really get your money's worth with Club WWN. These guys are on a lot of shows every month, and a lot of the catalog, a lot of the older shows are there as well. So you definitely want to check it out. $9.99 a month, Club WWN. Really got to check it out. We have some time, and I want to ask, Adrian, how did you find out about AR Fox's wrestling school?
Well, when I first joined, I actually didn't know who AR Fox was. And it didn't really hit me wanting to be a wrestler till my second semester in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up schools. I heard about the WWE 4 not too far from me. I looked at the trainer. I wasn't familiar too much with Fox. I came to check out the building. It was first location was behind a strip club, so it was already sketchy for me. And I thought it was all a scam at first, and it was closed too. On top of that, so I was like, "Oh man, this place is done. I'm gonna get murdered. I need to get out of here." And then the next day, I called again just to double check. Karen picked up the phone, and she told me that they were just closed on Fridays. I didn't know that. And so I came to check. I decided that I was going to start, January 1st, 2017. That's when I started training. And then I started looking up Fox until I started training, and I saw all his accomplishments, and it was pretty mind-blowing and how athletic he was, saw all his videos, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely down to be trained by this guy. This guy looks like he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I started January 1st, 2017, and he's brought me this far already so shortly in my career. So I definitely made the right decision.
My bad to cut you off. I tell all the guys this, that I just kind of get I just try to just, give everybody the same opportunities, and it's up to them what they do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, I broke my leg at the end of my first month, so.
Oh. No. But you came back. That's the important thing. Is that you came back.
Yes, I came back after that, and Fox, I didn't expect him to give up on me, but he never did. And then, being this far at 22 years old right now is really dope.
So. Wow, that is fantastic. Now, Fox, now I know a little bit of your history because I do know that you were trained by Mr. Hughes, Curtis Hughes. And I remember watching him as a kid, like with the glasses, and he used to intimidate me a little bit. What is he like from him training? What advice did he give you when you broke in?
Oh man, to be honest, it was pretty outdated. To be honest, I learned a lot of my stuff just through my travels and just learning from guys that were better than me, which was pretty much was everyone when I first started. So it was really just picking up stuff as I went, and then going out the country to Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and having 3 days with the guys, and then being like, no man, this is how Lucha Libre is, because I was just kind of doing what I seen. He had a pretty generic move set he would teach, and the whole spot. So I'll not to expose anything, but a lot of the stuff was just outdated, where you'd be running away from the guy you're fighting, especially in desperate times, or the whole point into your head, you outsmarted the guy when you just simply duck something and you know that like the guy you're fighting is on his feet behind you. You know, so I learned how to like suplex, scoop slam. You know what I'm saying? Like,
takeover.
And that's how it is in most like wrestling schools. Like you pretty much learn like the lower ones. Like you pretty much learn like to move like the first like 20 moves. Pro. Yeah.
And we don't stay on like learning a headlock here for weeks. Like we move fast.
Yeah.
Fox teaches us real quick, and he gets us. That's why we're so far. Most of the students are really far right now.
Right.
My outlook on it is that everything is safe. Every single move is safe. We're not trying to break no one's neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for my style, I've had limited injuries. I've had one real injury where I broke my wrist, and I'm not trying to point fingers, but it was not my fault at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it don't matter. And once we do some basic rolls or something like that, once we get into it or whatever, we do whatever we want. I might try to, I might have an idea for this weekend. I might run it with a guy on his like second or third day.
You gave me like almost a full match on my third day, actually.
Yeah, like especially if the kid's like back there wrestling or something. You know what I mean? Like it's serious, but at the same time, I say like I think the best advice I could give someone is it's serious, but it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like think about what it really is. Like you know what I'm saying? Like oh yeah, like oh man, you're gonna give him this like a brain buster. Like, yeah, because essentially it's a suplex. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we get it in here.
All right. Now, we just got into 2019. What are the goals for the Skulk in 2019?
First things first is the new Evolve Tag Team Championships. I do want to travel more. I want to get out of the country. I want to go over to California. Hopefully make the PWI top 500.
Hey, I mean, we cover that every year, so who knows? Maybe I'll get to read your name this year.
Hopefully. That's the goal. That's one of the goals right now.
How about you, Fox? Any goals for 2019?
Just to keep making progress with the school. And, I don't know. No. I'm good. Like, I'm pretty happy. I like to go further. I don't know if that's an option for me. But, yeah, so really, I just want to do the school, man, and just, it's crazy, like, someone come in and be like, oh, I want to try this wrestling thing, and then, like, a couple of weeks later or months later, they're, like, a full-blown wrestler, like,
yeah.
And then, like, more gaining confidence. You see, like, awkwardness turn into confidence. And, like, it's pretty crazy once you've been doing it for a while. And it's not just, like, you show this guy some cool moves. But it's like, oh, this guy's, like, really freaking starting to get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything you guys want to plug before we wrap this up? Social media, the school itself?
Yeah. We're not behind the strip club anymore. I don't know if I've mentioned that. That's a much nicer location.
We're up the street. But we're still in the trap, though. We're just up the street on FIB. But, man, just the school for me and Evolve and everything they're doing for the business of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Gaining the independent scene. I have no idea how many fans that have never even heard of me, but now since Johnny Gargano's name is next to me, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can't thank them enough. I thank Gabe after every match, and he's like, dude, you deserve it, or like whatever he says, like not to make him sound like that, because he's my guy, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate Gabe. Yeah, Gabe kind of really like made me who I am a lot. I put in a lot of work too, and I had help from other companies too, but Gabe had a lot of faith in me, man. I wasn't always the like typical wrestler build or move set. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, Adrian? Anything you want to plug?
Oh, no, this is cool. Like Fox said, and Evolve. Fox pretty much summarized it perfectly.
Yeah, dude, we ain't really into
That's all my focus right now is the school and Evolve, and that's really it.
All right.
I have no other interest. I haven't seen a single football game this whole entire year, or last year either.
Yo, we're obsessed.
Yeah.
So, who's the truth?
I don't even know when the Super Bowl is. I don't even know who's in it.
Well, they're going to decide this weekend, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you need to know is Tom Brady is still playing.
Never heard of him.
Yo, show's canceled. Cancel the show.
You know, I'm gonna say this.
Damn,
I'm gonna say this on behalf of my dad and myself. We both wish we had never known who Tom Brady is. So.
Whose mans are you, dude?
I know. Evolve 119, 120, January 18th and the 19th. You can see it on Club WWN for only $9.99 a month. AR Fox, Adrian, Alanis, thank you both for taking the time out to be on here, and you guys are more than welcome to come back anytime you want.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Bob's here.
Bob's here.
Yo.
Oh.
All right, man. See you.
All right. We'll be right back.
I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so, and you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called the Wrestling Hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. I am Bill, joined as always by Fro. How you doing, Fro?
Howdy, partner.
Howdy. And before we go any further, I do want to thank, once again, AR Fox and Adrian and Alanis from the Skulk for their interview. Evolve 119 and 120 is this weekend. Check them out. They are in Brooklyn and Queens, New York. And if you can't be there live, you can watch it on Club WWN. So, we got a bit of a packed show this week.
Yeah, definitely. A really good pay-per-view this week, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about NXT TakeOver UK Blackpool.
Liverpool. Yes.
Swimming pool.
Blackpool.
No, I know. Plus, we're going to have a discussion on wrestling rivalries that felt natural to us. And we had a couple of interesting choice or selections from our Facebook group, which we'll get to in just a little bit.
And we will discuss a poll that I put up, maybe? Intent?
Oh.
On the wrestling show?
Okay, yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Hint.
Hint, hint. But I think we got to begin. Let's begin talking about what happened on Raw, and this was such a weird thing. I did my research on why everything happened the way it did. So for those who did not watch Raw, which is Fro and a lot of you,
It's definitely me. I will tell you that I will watch next week, but that's only because it's the week before the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, you're not on a short list of people who did not watch Raw. But anyway,
yeah.
Braun Strowman got stripped of his Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar for the Royal Rumble. Then later that night, they made a four-corner survival match to determine the number one contender and who would face Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And it ends up being Finn Balor who gets the shot at Brock Lesnar's Universal title at the Royal Rumble. Now, I'm sure there are some of you who are wondering, okay, why did Braun get taken out of the title match? Well, according to the reports that I have read, WWE was a little bit fearful that Braun would not be medically cleared by the time the Royal Rumble came around, which is, at this point, 9 days away. Because he still is recovering from the elbow surgery that he had just about 2 months ago now. So they basically did a storyline where Braun, was stripped of his title shot at the Universal title. So, and maybe I should tell you how it happened before I get your opinion on if you thought it was a good way to take it or not. Basically, Braun begins the show, and he says that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, blah, 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 blah. Then Baron Corbin comes out. And Baron, irritates Braun, basically. So Braun chases Baron around, and basically Braun finds Baron, and he's in Vince McMahon's limo. So Braun rips the door off of the limo, and, to get to Baron. And Vince sees this, and he's like, "Look at what you've done. This is gonna cost you. You're gonna pay for this. This is costing you $100,000. And Braun is like, "I'm not paying $100,000. And then Vince is like, "All right, then I'm taking your championship match at the Royal Rumble away." And then Braun lifts the limousine and flips it. Well, he doesn't lift it, but he flips it over.
Flips it like it's hot. Flip it like it's hot.
Well, he was hot. Let's say that. So, okay, let me ask you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that way using for Braun to not be in the title match? Are you okay?
I mean, he's hurt. It's okay. You need to get him out of the picture somehow. He needs restoration.
I mean, they could have done a lot worse. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. I did see a clip on Facebook this week of John Cena getting over Finn Balor. I think that was one of the best John Cena promos I've seen in a long time, to be honest. It felt genuine. I actually think that he likes him, and it's also nice to see that Cena is trying to send send the torch as well. And I mean, does it change my predictions for what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble? Not really, but.
Right.
Do I think it was smart to put him in the contender match? Yeah, I do think they have something very, very special in Finn Balor, and I have said that for many times, many years now. It feels like it's not that long time ago he was the champion. And getting him to that spot is fully deserved, it seems like. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, the thing that bothered me during that episode, when they were talking about Finn Balor, is how they were like, Finn's going to finally get his chance at the Universal title. He never got an opportunity. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, do you remember what happened the night after SummerSlam this year when Roman gave him a shot at the title? It's like it never happened.
Yeah, no, it's kind of strange. They need to have truth in their storytelling. That annoys me as well. But I mean, it's perfectly fine. What they're doing with him here is the right way, and I will be extremely surprised if he doesn't win at the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's in the cards, and it's a really good storytelling tool. Yeah. I think it will be in a bad way. I think we will have Braun Strowman running in, destroying Brock Lesnar, putting Finn Balor over.
Well, okay, that actually leads me to my question I was going to ask you, and that is on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is he has no chance, and 10 is he has a fantastic chance. What number would you give Finn Balor as a possibility of winning the title?
Oh, definitely 10.
You give it a 10. Okay.
Oh yeah. Because of the storytelling. I mean, he never got the championship.
Even though he did get his shot the night.
I know.
You know. Yeah, they don't want us to remember.
Don't speak about it loudly, then people will forget.
I know, they don't want us to remember. They really don't.
No.
But no, I'm actually in a weird way, and as much as I love Braun Strowman, I'm looking more forward to Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar than Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think the storytelling here is pretty clear. I think they will do it that way because it's a perfect way of showing the people that you're serious about changing things up. Yeah.
And I mean, let's be fair. I mean, Finn Balor has had the worst luck, and he's Irish, you know. I'm not trying to point that out, but he wins the Universal title. He's the first champ, and he has to surrender the belt the next day because he gets injured. And he basically, since he has returned, has not gotten, to me, I don't think he's gotten a real fair chance to prove once again that he is a legitimate big-time player when a lot of us, you and I included, know he is a legitimate big-time player and he can draw some money. So this is a tremendous opportunity for Finn. This is a fantastic opportunity. Will he win it? I don't know. You'll have to tune in next week when we make our predictions.
But I will tell you now that next week I will predict him winning. But that's mostly because if they are serious about changing things up, I will say it again. If they are serious about changing things up, they need to get the title off of Brock sooner than later. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it is the one thing that people has complained about, and if the WWE are serious in the way they're saying they want things to change, they need to change something about the main title. They need to get it back on somebody that is there, for fuck's sake.
Time.
Yep.
Well, I was going to save this till next week. I mean, I'm still going to save my pick till next week. But I have two trains of thought, because to me, whatever happens with that match is going to have a major effect on who wins the Royal Rumble. Because this year's Royal Rumble, the men's right now, it's as wide open as last year, I think. Maybe even more wide open.
Oh, definitely. I do think I know who's going to win, but that's just a hunch on my behalf.
Yeah. All right. Now,
I think it's more difficult in the women's division, to be honest with you.
Well, but the thing is, real quick with the women's, is you don't have the one woman, or in this case, man, who, if they had entered the Royal Rumble, everyone would be like, oh, that person's going to win it. And because that person is in a championship match, if you guys haven't figured out by now, I'm talking about Becky Lynch. It's like, okay, Becky's not in it. Who in the world do you have going over?
No, and it's definitely a question of who, when you have Asuka in the way she's being portrayed now. I mean, yeah.
No, I was gonna say I have a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. No, that whoever loses, they're gonna end up being in the Women's Royal Rumble match. That's my hunch. So.
But does that mean that they win it? That's the other thing, though. Are they making it that? I think it's easier for WWE to give us a shock in the women's division than the men's division. Funny enough.
Okay, well, let me bring up the roster. Why don't you keep talking? Keep talking.
No, the thing is, like, funny enough, I think it's harder to shock us on the men's side. Of who would win the Royal Rumble. Like, of course, I would be totally shocked if one of the Usos won, but that's on a bad side of a shock. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no positive shocks in the Royal Rumble, really, because we know who the contenders are. We know enough to know who is definitely not winning it.
Right.
And it's easier for me to say that if they gave us, for example, let's say Lana won the Royal Rumble. What a shock that would be.
That would be a shock.
Positive and also a shock. But let's say Jey Uso won, and that would be a shock, but that would be a negative shock.
Right.
So there is a difference, and I do think WWE is smart enough to know the difference between a positive and a negative shock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that it would be easier to give us a positive shock in the women's division because the women there, I'm going to say it now, and this will maybe shock people to the bones. I would rather watch the women's division than the men's. And that's not sexist, and it's not because they have boobs or anything. But right now, the women's division in WWE is more interesting than the men's. Okay. And that is my personal feeling about it.
All right, let me ask you this, because we had this discussion last year. Which Royal Rumble match did you have more fun watching last year, the men's or the women's?
The men's.
Really? Because I had more fun with the women.
But I think maybe the reason why I had more fun with the men's was because of the newness of it. Mm-hmm. It felt a little like a little push last year. This time I feel they're doing it the right a better and right way.
Okay. All right.
I am. Yeah.
No,
sorry?
I was gonna say I have in front of me, as of this recording, the current competitors for the women's Royal Rumble match.
Okay.
So I will read them off, and you tell me if them winning would be a surprise or not a surprise.
Okay, and I will say if it's a positive or negative as well.
Right. All right. We'll start with Natalya.
Natalya could win. I don't think that would be positive, to be honest.
Okay. Bayley.
Yes, positive.
Okay. Ember Moon.
No.
Okay. Ruby Riott.
Yes, positive.
Sarah Logan.
No.
Liv Morgan.
No.
Mickie James.
No.
Alicia,
No.
Okay. Alicia Fox.
No.
Mandy Rose.
No.
Sonya Deville.
Yes, and positive.
Zelina Vega.
Yes, and positive.
And Carmella.
Yes, and I'm not sure of Carmella. I'm
positive.
I don't really know if that would be positive. Right. I don't think so.
And there are names that we did not say in there. We didn't say Naomi. We didn't say Nia Jax. We didn't say Charlotte. I would imagine those three are going to be added by the time we do our prediction show next week. I can't see them not being involved. You know what? I would basically put my next paycheck as a bet that those three will be added by the time we come next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I literally would not do that, but if I did, you know. Let's stick with the women.
But it's also the fact that it's 30 competitors that we need in this, and not a bad thing about the women's division, but there is almost not enough women to fill that card. Right. I mean, when they bring in people that haven't wrestled for them for many years just to be in the Royal Rumble, that's saying something.
Right.
It's saying that they don't really have faith in their own division.
Well, I don't think it's that they don't have faith in their own division. It's just they don't have 30 women up on the main roster.
Yeah.
That's just me. But the big news for the women this week also happened on Raw. during the Moment of Bliss talk show segment. Anyway, they unveil the brand new Women's Tag Team Championship belts. And it was announced on Raw that the championship belts, that they will determine the champions at the next pay-per-view Elimination Chamber inside the Elimination Chamber. So what it will happen is it'll be 3 teams from Raw, 3 teams from SmackDown that will compete. The last team in will be the new Women's Tag Team Champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is a weird way to do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't I don't know if I like it, but
I agree with you. I think it's a weird way to determine the first champions. I think if they, done it differently, like if I had booked it, there would have been a tournament, the final match happens at WrestleMania, and that's how you fill the championship. But maybe WWE has something up their sleeve. Maybe.
Yeah, no, they need this is so strange to say, like, how many women is it compared to men?
Well, okay. You mean tag teams?
Yeah.
Okay, well, for Raw, you got the Riot Squad. So any combination there, that's a team.
Yeah.
Bayley and Sasha, that's a team right there. Tamina and Nia Jax, that's another team. Alexa Bliss, when she's healthy, teams up with Mickie James, so that's a team there. Natalia.
Yeah, I don't count. Let's not count teams that are out of playing.
Okay.
I mean, like now.
And then you have on SmackDown, you got the Iconics.
Right.
That's a team. You got Mandy and Sonya Deville. So you got 5 right there.
Right.
The 6th team is gonna have to come from SmackDown. And basically it's like, do you pair maybe like Charlotte with somebody, or do you put Naomi in there? I think Naomi would be really good with a partner. But then who would you have as the partner? Would you have it be Lana, or would you let it be Asuka? That's another thing to think about.
But that's one of the things that surprises me, that they put on a women's division tag team when they don't really have women enough to have that division.
Well, it's going to take time, obviously. It's not going to be set, in stone overnight. It's going to take time.
No,
they're going to figure this out.
All together. I mean, Raw and SmackDown. How many men are there?
Oh dear Lord, you're talking over.
If you had
50.
to guess,
over 50.
Okay, and how many women? Between 15 and 20 somewhere?
Yeah, about that. That's about right.
That's the difference. That's one of the problems. One of the problems is that the roster is not filler. More people, and that's kind of weird to say, because people complain about overbooking and a lot of people being on the roster and blah blah blah. It's now that you need that roster. The problem is when you put matches where you have one of the tag teams people going against someone else suddenly, and don't let the tag team be against the tag teams. When you're using a lot of time on matches that is not important for your division, that's one of the biggest problems of having a roster that is this filled. They could do it they just need to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And right now they're not doing it the right way. That's one of the real reasons why I don't watch is because when they show no interest in their roster, guess what? We as fans, we feel it.
Well, like I said, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Now,
Yep.
Speaking of roster, this week, after 4 or 5 weeks of hyping up new talent, we got new talent on Monday Night Raw. Let me tell you how they all came, Fro. First one that we see on Raw, EC3. How do we see EC3? He gets interviewed backstage about wanting to get a title shot against Brock Lesnar. Yep. There's your debut, folks, of EC3. Next.
That's a terrible debut.
Next, Nikki Cross. How does she debut? She's in a 6-woman tag team match. And she's on the winning team.
I like that.
See? Next debut, Lacey Evans. How does she debut? She's talking to Mickie James and Alicia Fox in the back. And finally, Heavy Machinery. How do they debut? Otis interrupts a moment of bliss.
Yeah, and I watched that. I like that.
Okay.
A moment of bliss is funny.
All right. With the exception of Nikki Cross's debut, which they got right. How do you screw up 3 other acts in their debut? How? It's like, okay, you got EC3, talented as hell. How do you not give him a match? Give him a match. Lacey Evans, have her do a promo. Have her do something. Heavy Machinery. Don't let him be a comedy act. What are you doing? Jesus, man.
Yeah.
They can't even get the debuts right.
I know.
And Lars Sullivan has yet to appear on television.
How long has that promo gone on?
God, it's been almost 2 months for Lars.
Yeah. He's coming soon. But that's oh gosh, I just wish there was I wish there was a summer cleaning in the roster. 2, I wish there was clear and concise rosters for the groups that we need. I wish there was a division almost that they only could fight inside their division. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm sorry to say this, we just need spring cleaning there now. It's just like it's filled with people that doesn't do a lot of work. And I'm not talking about the roster. I'm talking behind the scenes. I'm talking in writing. I'm talking about people involved with storylines. That's where we need the spring cleaning, because the roster is one of the greatest rosters. I will say it again. It's one of the greatest rosters we have ever had in WWE history. It's just all the things behind it. That's when you don't have the support from the people that give you the job. That's the fucking problem.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because over the last 48 hours, there have been a lot of rumors. And like I said, these are rumors of different wrestlers who are asking for their release from WWE. And there are some names where it's like, okay, they won't be hurt if they lose them. And there's like 1 or 2 where it's like, oh, you can't afford to lose that. So I have heard, and again, I'm not going to confirm that these are true. These are only rumors. I've heard the Revival have asked for their release. I've heard Mike and Maria Kanellis have asked for their release. I've read Dolph Ziggler, his contract is up at the end of the month. And there were reports that they wanted to make him a producer, and Dolph's like, no, I don't want that. So Dolph, maybe not, might be gone. We're not sure. And Goldust, maybe. So if they let them go, you're going to get a little bit of room, but it's not much. And the Revival is the one that surprises me the most because they've been on Raw every week for the last several weeks, having the storyline about how they're getting screwed out of the tag team titles in every which way possible. So, that surprises me. So we'll have to see where that goes. Let's get to Major League Wrestling because they had a busy week. They signed some new talent. They signed 3 wrestlers this week to their roster because we're basically in the stages, Fro. I think of, how we had the Monday Night War back in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
We are in the contract war of the 2010s because this is what it has become at this point. Because it's like you're going to get it, exclusively signed to WWE or New Japan or Ring of Honor, or in this case, Major League Wrestling.
I'm just happy that it's happening.
Yeah. So Major League Wrestling has signed Mance Warner. For those of you who don't know who he is the current CZW World Heavyweight Champion. They have also signed former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the Almighty Sheik, who is in no relation whatsoever to the original Sheik or the Iron Sheik. I'm sure there was somebody asking that, so I'm going to clear that one out of the way. And they have signed Jacob Fatu. He is the son of the Tonga Kid, a.k.a. Tama, from the Islanders. Now, he's been making a name for himself, Jacob Fatu has, in California, and the reports going around is he's going to get a big push right out of the gate. And he wrestles like Umaga. So that's pretty good.
That is going to be interesting.
Yep. And then with All Elite Wrestling, we really have not heard any other news of new wrestlers coming, so we're going to still keep our eye on that, so have to wait and see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fro, usually we don't do this very often, unless it's for good reasons only. We lost another one. Not death, but I meant in our love lives.
Oh, yeah.
As I play the familiar music. I love this segment. This is one of my favorite segments I think I've ever created. I'm playing the funeral march if you can't hear it. Can you hear it, Fro?
No, I can't.
I'm going to turn it up a little bit louder so you guys can hear it. How about now?
No, but you go on.
Okay. So, it has been reported this week that Nikki Cross got married to Killian Dean. I know, man. I know you're into those crazy chicks.
I'm definitely not.
But in all seriousness, congratulations to Killian Dane and Nikki Cross on getting married. They'd been dating for 10 years. I had not known about that. Oh. And they got married this week. So congratulations to Nikki Cross and Killian Dane on getting married.
Yeah. Are you ready to talk about a little poll that we had?
Yeah, let's talk about this poll.
Yeah, because I asked the group, the Facebook group, I asked, should we open the group or should we keep it closed?
Right.
And right off now, is 6 people that says no, they don't mind us opening the group. So, are we going to open the group?
Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
I mean, not to cross-promote and shit like that, but another digital citizen was closed for a long time. One of the reasons why I opened it up, yes, we are more risky of getting bots and things like that.
But we're prepared for that.
Yeah, but it's also something about it's easier to find us. Like, if your group is open, you can search for it on Facebook. You don't have to be invited or invite yourself. You can actually search for it. It is more easy for people to see it. And that's my biggest argument for having it open.
Okay. So, yeah, how about we give it a try? We'll give it a few weeks, see if anything works. And if it works, we'll keep it open.
Yep.
And if it doesn't work, then we'll close it back.
Close it again. Yeah.
Did you open it already or no?
No. I talked about it.
I see it. Okay.
I will do it.
No, actually,
I can do it.
I'm on the group right now, so.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we're gonna change it back to being public, and we'll see what happens. Maybe that's why we haven't been getting all the. So we'll see how it works.
I mean, it makes it easier to find us. That's the only argument I have, and I think that's a good argument because I think it will get us to grow up to 300 again. We have lost.
We lost a lot of people. Although I think some of them might have been fake accounts. So.
Yeah, but we have lost 19 people last week. That is a lot of people.
Yeah. And we do plug at the end of the show every week, to go to our Facebook group, and we'll do it again a little later. So, are you ready for some reality wrestling news?
I am.
Because God knows we haven't had that in a while. I was going to talk about it last week, but we didn't get to it. Eva Marie is going to be on the upcoming season of Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, me and Luke were talking about that. And guess who we want to go out first of that?
Eva Marie.
Yep. We hate her now, and we will always hate her.
Although
she's an awful human being. No, she's not.
You don't think she's easy on the eyes?
No. Ugh. I'm sorry. She's butt ugly.
All right. I'm going to do this, Fro. Over or under? Ready? Over or under, Eva Marie lasts 7 days in the big house.
Yeah.
You're gonna go?
I will say over, maybe.
Okay, over 7. Okay. And I saw the list of contestants that are going to be on this. There are some interesting names that she's going to be, bunking up with. I think the big name is Anthony Scaramucci.
Scaramucci, do the fandango.
Thunder Road of Lightning.
I think Kato Caitlin is also pretty big.
Oh God, yeah, my God.
Luke made a very, very, very funny joke. He said that he is used to live in other people's houses.
Wow.
That's true, though.
It is. Eva Marie and Ryan Lochte, who's also going to be in the house, are the youngest people there. They are both 34 years old. Other people that are going to be in there include Dina Lohan, and this is what it says on Wikipedia, momager. Not manager, momager. We got Joey Lawrence. Whoa! Jonathan Bennett. Candy Burris. Of course, you mentioned Kato Kalin. Lolo Jones. Ricky Williams. Tamar Braxton. And Tom Green.
Yeah, Tom Green is Luke's favorite on this.
Boy. I think I'd have to leave if Tom Green was there.
I love Tom Green.
I'd be like, I'm out. We have set a new record. 5 minutes in and a celebrity.
I like him.
Oh, man. That's too funny. Anyway, I have also in front of me spoilers on the plots of the next 3 episodes of Total Bellas.
Oh, no.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start with the episode that's going to air this Sunday. Episode 2. The Bellas start their huge comeback at SummerSlam ringside with Ronda Rousey in New York. Brie goes behind Bryan's back and meets a plastic surgeon. Newly single Nicole is surprised to find that a family dinner turns out to be a blind date.
Wow.
And then we have episode 3, which is going to air during the Royal Rumble. So you guys decide what you want to watch. Total Bellas or the Royal Rumble? Nicole is determined to break the rules and revamp her lifestyle. Brie faces the emotional challenge of leaving Birdie for the first time to go on the road with Bryan for their new WWE storyline. Okay, now there's a good that's a good story right there. That's a good one. That storyline about Brie and leaving Birdie, that might not be too bad. And then episode 4, during the Super Bowl. Man, they just put these shows on like the wrong days possible. Have you ever noticed that?
I know.
Nicole goes behind Brie's back to rekindle her chemistry with her Dancing with the Stars partner, Artem. Brie is upset that Nicole is training with Ronda Rousey without her and Bryan. And Brie makes 2 major mistakes.
I mean, at least he can see him, so.
Aww.
Aww.
Oh, man. So, yeah, if you're interested in watching Total Bellas for some strange reason, maybe we saved you time?
Like me?
Yeah.
Like me?
Like
yeah.
You.
I'm one of those that watches it for some strange reason.
I have with me Meltzer's ratings from Homecoming because they were not out when we recorded last week.
Okay, let's do this super fast.
Yep, because we got a pay-per-view to talk about.
Yes.
X Division title match. He gave it 3 3/4 stars. Su Yung and Ali against Kira Hogan and Jordan Grace. He gave 1.5 stars.
Okay.
Eddie Edwards and Moose, the Falls Count Anywhere match. He gave 3 stars. Willie Mack and Sami Callihan. He gave 2.25 stars. Eli Drake and Abyss. He gave 2 stars. LAX against Pentagon and Phoenix, he gave 4.25 stars. Tessa Blanchard and Taya Valkyrie, he gave 2.5 stars. And Johnny Impact against Brian Cage, he gave 3 stars.
Okay.
Pretty fair.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, which took place last weekend. For first show, for Takeover, it wasn't that bad. I thought it was a good show.
I thought this was one of the better shows I've seen.
I think for the most part, my grades are consistent. So, I'm not putting myself over, but I'm just letting everyone know. So Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness are our commentators for this event. Opening match is the final match in the tournament to crown the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate against Zach Gibson and James Drake. And Fro, I'll let you start off with your thoughts on the match.
No, this was such a good start to the pay-per-view. I did not think I would like this as much as I did. Fast pacing from the beginning. I know I will have a controversial meaning about another match, but I actually really like this. I gave this B+.
This was a really good match, and the commentators pointed out that Seven and Bate looked like with their outfits, they looked like the British Bulldogs, and he really did. I mean, Tyler Bate had the scariest resemblance to the Dynamite Kid. The way his body was and the way he was wearing that outfit. It was scary. There were times I thought where the match dragged a little bit. Of course, not saying, it's a terrible thing. But it really did get good towards the end, and I really thought on multiple occasions Seven and Bate were going to win that, because we both thought they were going to win the titles. And Gibson and Drake hit the Doomsday device on the floor on Bate, which takes him out of the picture, and then Seven gets hit with a code breaker, and Gibson and Drake are the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I gave this a B+ as well. Actually, you know what? I didn't even check if our favorite reviewing websites gave grades for this show.
Let's just skip it.
Okay, yeah, they don't get to deserve it this week. Maybe when we do Takeover and the Royal Rumble in a couple weeks. They're not going to ruin our fun.
No.
So the next match, and I actually liked this angle going into it, was going to be a match between Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin. If you did not watch the pre-show, there was a segment.
Yes, I did.
I did too. There was a segment where Devlin went after the knees of Travis Banks. And Travis Banks was going to go through with this match. So before the bell rang, he did a dive onto Devlin, and they started fighting. Devlin then went after the knee of Banks, and Banks had to be taken to the back. So then, Johnny Saint, who is the GM of NXT UK, and his assistant GM, Sid Scala, never heard of him, they immediately said to Devlin that they had a suitable replacement for Travis Banks to take on Jordan Devlin. And it ends up being Finn Balor.
Do you know why I kind of really, really like this? It is because this is showing them, this is why I have such high hopes for the title getting changed. Putting Finn Balor in a position like this is the perfect way to get him over at the Royal Rumble.
And here he's facing a guy that he did train back when he was in Ireland, Jordan Devlin. And this is a good student versus teacher match.
Really?
Oh, wait a minute. Did I tell the rating from that previous match?
No.
Oh, it was 4.5 stars from Meltzer.
Oh. Okay.
I'm just doing Meltzer, not CBS. I enjoyed this match. This was a fun match. And I think, Fro, now that you mention it, you might be right on, how this might be a good preparation for Finn for the Royal Rumble. I I know he was over there to help do promotional stuff and to help with the opening of the UK Performance Center, which opened up last week. This was a good match. I am into Jordan Devlin as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
I am into him as a heel. I would like to see more of him. I gave this match a B. It's a solid B.
I give this a B as well.
All right. Meltzer gave this 3.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Next match, Eddie Dennis against Dave Mastiff in a no disqualification match. Fro, I will let you take this one.
I love this match. From beginning, this was a hard-hitting, good, no DQ match. What they did with the ground, taking off the mat there, that was a really good spot. I love that. This was a really good DQ match.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little bit on the opposite of this. And the reason I say it is because, and I'm not picking on the guy. I'm just giving my honest opinion. Dave Mastiff just looks like a sloppy wrestler to me. And when they announced his weight, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm going into, old school Gorilla Monsoon, there's no way this guy's 322 pounds. This guy has got to be over the 400-pound mark. There's no way that guy is 322. If he is 322 pounds, then I'm 190 pounds. Which means I'm not 190 pounds, folks.
Mm-hmm. I got it.
I don't know. This match, it just didn't do it for me. I'm not saying it's a bad match, but it just didn't do it for me. I gave this a B. It's a low B, but I like I said, it's not a terrible match. I just, I just couldn't really get into it. I gave it a B.
Okay.
Meltzer gave that 3 stars. Then we had the NXT Women's title match. Rhea Ripley defending against Toni Storm.
Yep. And here is my controversial match of the night.
Okay.
I will bet you everybody loved this match but me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I read
this match.
I read online that people were in love with this match. This match did not work for me at all. I think it was mainly the slow pacing in the beginning that destroyed it. I will say it gets better, but the beginning, like running from each other, I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of dragging out time in the beginning of a wrestling match. I understand that you're trying to tell storyline with it, but it's so lazy. It's so lazy when you do it so blatantly. And it's like 10 minutes of the match is like running around, even maybe more, 10, 15 minutes, like running around, like chasing each other. Like, fucking wrestle. Get to the point.
I enjoyed this match, actually. I thought it was a good women's title match. I think both came to play, and they both did really good in this match. I was a little surprised that Toni Storm got the win. I
wasn't.
But we both said last week that she didn't need the title.
Oh, no, she doesn't.
But it was a feel-good moment for Toni Storm, especially with the last several weeks that's gone on. And the reason I didn't bring it up on our previous 2 shows is because I didn't think it was an appropriate setting to talk about what had happened with Toni. And I guess because she has now activated all her social media. Just to give you a quick story, somebody hacked into her phone and got stuff, and a video of her was released. And she's 20, 21 years old. She's a young girl, shit like that shouldn't really happen to her. But it's another reminder of the dangers of social media and, the internet. But I felt bad for her, and I'm glad that she got the title, and it looks like things are up and up for her, both professionally and personally in her life.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this a B+.
I gave this C-.
Wow, I thought you were going to give it an F.
No.
All right.
Like I said, I think the ending was good. Just like I said, I thought the pacing in the beginning was awful.
Mm-hmm. And then we had the main event. Joe Coffey challenging Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. And they made a big deal about how Dunne has had the title, and this is a legit number, for over 600 days. I think it's like, at the time it was like 601 or 603. It obviously has since gone up. This was a physical match. And it was good up until about the end where they had a couple of botches, but I'm not going to penalize them for that. And the crowd was just really into this match. They just were eating everything that Coffey and Dunne were giving them. I really enjoyed this match. I thought this was the best match on the show.
I totally agree.
I gave this an A-.
I gave this an A as well.
All right. But I do have to talk about what happened after the match, because that's the big story. And it came true, folks. For those of you who are fans of independent wrestling and, maybe international wrestling, we saw the debut of Walter. And folks, if you have not seen Walter, you need to go check him out. Go on the YouTube. PWG has probably some videos of Walter. This guy is, oh my God, the hardest chops I think I've ever seen in a long, long time of any wrestler. Walter is just this person who, he looks like a wrestler, There are some wrestlers where you look at him and it's like, that's not a wrestler. Walter looks like a wrestler. And he's going to be someone that, if they let him have a run, he's going to go over. He's going to be over. That's all I'm going to say. Meltzer gave this 3 3/4 stars to wrap that up.
Oh.
So all in all, pretty good show, to say the least. There's no argument, I think, from either side that this was a good show. I want to bring this up because one of the things that we love to do is play a game where Fro guesses who won certain awards. We're not going to do that this week because I don't have Pro Wrestling Illustrated on me. I have not gotten that issue yet. But I do want to talk about the Observer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter. In their newest edition, they have put out new categories this year for the Wrestling Observer newsletter. These are first-time categories that I'm going to mention. They are United States, Canada Pro Wrestling MVP, Japan MVP, Mexico MVP, European MVP, non-heavyweight MVP, woman wrestling MVP, and woman MMA MVP.
Okay.
So
I have no clue.
I guess what that's going to be is like, who was, well, would it be like who's the best, or I don't know how you would put it. How would you put that as?
I have no clue.
You don't know? Okay.
I have absolutely no clue what you're talking about.
All right. So when we get this award, or when we get the issue and the awards, we will figure it out. We really will figure it out. Okay, let's get to our feature topic, our featured discussion this week. And that is natural wrestling rivalries. And the reason,
I will let you run with this.
All right. The reason why I wanted to do this topic comes from the live show, everyone. No, it's not. From the All Elite Wrestling Rally that took place last week, and myself watching it with MJF and Joey Janela, and I've seen them many, many times, and I think to myself, that's a natural rivalry. It's just, these two guys, they're just basically meant to be. They're meant to face each other. So I asked on our Facebook group, which wrestling rivalries do you feel are natural? Just made naturally. Wasn't, company made, machine made. It's just a natural wrestling rivalry. And we got some interesting responses to this. And I'm going to lay 4 of them to you, Fro, and you tell me if you would agree with that or not.
Okay.
We have Steve Miller, who helped last week. It was his idea to talk about All Elite Wrestling, and Steve, thank you again for not only that podcast, but you and Fro got talking, and we finally got a donation on Patreon.
Yes.
For
I was going to mention that at the end, but we can do it now.
Yeah.
We got the Patreon.
Yeah.
And it is Steve Miller. Scuba Steve. Thank you, Scuba Steve.
So his first one that he has, Matt Hardy and Edge.
Okay.
The only reason I'm going to say yes to that is because of the circumstances that led to that, which is basically Matt was dating Lita, and it was like, oh, they're so good together, they're going to get married, blah, 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 blah. And then we find out Lita cheated on Matt with Edge. And Matt put it out there publicly, and Matt got fired, and then Matt came back, and he had this feud with Edge. And even though it didn't last long, it was a natural rivalry, just for that reason. His other one, The Rock and John Cena.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's a natural. I think so. Only because John Cena, is the face of the company at that time. The Rock was the face of the company, and then he comes back and it's like, hey, wait a minute, you can't do this. You're Hollywood and all that. Yeah, I would say that's a natural rivalry. And then
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
But
no, that's okay. You can say that. And then our other one is from Kevin Durant. His first one, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart. Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. That is a natural rivalry right there. Because Bret Hart is the technical, traditional wrestler who's a goody two-shoes, baby face, does everything right. Here's Stone Cold Steve Austin, acting like a badass, and this is before he does the drinking the beer and flipping the bird and all that, and it's just really good. That was a great rivalry. And especially the match at WrestleMania 13, which I think people get confused about. I think there are some people who probably think that match culminates the feud, it ends the feud. It didn't. That feud goes on for another 3 to 4 months after that match. And then the other one that he mentioned, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. What else is there to be said about that rivalry?
Yeah, that's
has not
one
been
of the
said?
best. Fantastic choice.
That may be the most heated rivalry of all time. Because they hated each other, bro. I mean, it's like... And I was trying to think of, natural rivalries in the world. And I'm like, the United States and the Soviet Union. That was just a natural rivalry. If you want to go into the movies... The stories about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, that's a natural rivalry. You could just go on and on, but Bret and Shawn, that is such a natural rivalry, especially with all the wacky stories that have been told over the years and everything that happened. That is a natural rivalry. That really is. I have a couple more in my mind, Fro, that I want to bring up. Because I don't know if you had any or not. I'm going to say...
No, I don't.
Okay. The first one that came to my... God, there were so many that came into my mind. I'm just going to say the first one that's on my mind, and that is Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. That is such... that is such a rivalry. That is such a natural rivalry. Because it's like, Dusty Rhodes, he's a man's man, the son of a plumber, all-American, the American dream, fighting for the common people like you and myself. And Ric Flair, the nature boy, he's got all this money, hangs out with beautiful women, rides long limousines, goes on Lear jets, goes out all night, and then when he gets in the ring, he's just himself, and that was such a natural rivalry, and the promos were so great. Oh my goodness. They really, really were. And then for the modern time, today's era, the one that popped into my head right away, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yes.
That to me might be the most natural rivalry I've ever seen in my life. Because to me, the greatest feud I've ever seen is the 1 year feud when they were both in Ring of Honor. It was Kevin Steen and El Generico. I've never seen a story told like this before or since in a long time, Fro. Because it begins at Final Battle 2009. So I'm going way back. They had lost a tag match. And, there was a story that Kevin was going to leave. He was going to retire because of injuries and blah, blah, blah. He turns his back on El Generico. So then, for the next 6 months, Steen is just torturing El Generico mentally. And Generico just doesn't want to fight because that was his friend. That was his best friend, his compadre, his amigo. And it's so good because you have other people in it, and it's not a story where it's like, oh, this person becomes the main point of the story. The main story is still Kevin Steen and El Generico. You have side characters, and the side characters play it perfectly. So they have a match in June, which is really good, which Kevin Steen wins. He cheats to win. During the intermission of that show, because I saw this show live on the internet. This was the early days of iPay-per-view. During intermission, El Generico comes back and he starts beating up on Kevin Steen, and they're fighting, and this crowd is loving it. By the way, this is in Canada, so, the Canadians are going crazy about this. Then they have a tag match. I want to say it was in September. And it's like a think it was a dog collar, like a double dog collar match. I don't remember. If I'm wrong, I apologize. So they have the match. After the match, Kevin Steen, I want to say Kevin Owens, but it's Kevin Steen. Kevin Steen takes the mask of El Generico. Because we didn't know what El Generico looked like. So now Steen has the mask of El Generico. And then it leads to the blow-off match, which is going to take place at Final Battle. And the stipulation is basically if Kevin Steen beats El Generico, Generico has to unmask. But if El Generico wins, Kevin Steen has to leave Ring of Honor. And the booking was so great that that match was the main event of Final Battle 2010. And they beat the shit out of each other for over a half hour. And the way that match ends is one of the best endings of a rivalry I've ever seen in my life. Because it's like Steen's like, I'm sorry, you know, and Generico at this point, he's not buying it, and he knocks Steen out with a steel chair, and he pins him, and he gets his mask back. And it was just a fantastic rivalry. The story told was, like I said, the best I had seen in a long time. And it really hasn't, you know, it hasn't been touched, I think, since. Because that feud was that great. That was a great story. And then, when they both got up to the main roster in 2016, well, you know, they had to fight, you know. So, Zayn eliminates Owens from the Royal Rumble that year to a huge pop. And they both get involved in the ladder match at WrestleMania that year. And it's like, oh, well, one of those two guys is going to win the match. Well, it didn't happen. But Zayn costs Owens the Intercontinental title because Owens was going into that match as Intercontinental Champion. Then they have a match, I want to say it was at Backlash, the next pay-per-view. I don't remember. Anyway, they have a good match. And Owens wins the match. He cheats to win. Then, during the next match, which was an Intercontinental title match, Owens is on commentary. Zayn jumps out of nowhere, and he starts going after Owens. I'm getting myself excited for this, bro. You can tell. I love this feud. So, you know, they're fighting. And then, you know, they have other stuff here and there. And then when we got the brand split back, they were going to have a match at Battleground. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is the last time you two are going to face each other for a long time. And I'm at that show. I'm up in the nosebleeds. I really didn't care. Because I wouldn't. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to that show. Was for that match. And Sami Zayn, he tries the Arabian moonsault where he jumps onto the top rope, leg first, and then does the moonsault. You know that move I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
He does that move, and he botches halfway, and he lands head first onto the apron. And I was like, oh my God. I honestly thought his neck was broken. I really did. And then they come back. And I'm going to say something controversial. That match ends up becoming the best match I've ever seen live and in person. And I've been to a WrestleMania. I've been to a Survivor Series. That match was beyond great. It was fantastically done. Those two, you know, are natural rivals. They are just natural rivals, probably to the day they die. And when they die, and when they go to heaven, they're going to have a feud up there in heaven. And then they're going to go to super heaven, and they're going to have a feud in super heaven. That was a Robot Chicken reference if you guys didn't get that one. But no, that rivalry, Zayn and Owens, I just love that feud. That is a natural rivalry. And then I'm going to do one more because, we're starting to run a little bit on time. I'd have to say Savage and Hogan. That was just a natural rivalry. I'm surprised nobody mentioned that in our group. Because, excuse me. Because Hogan was the big star. And Savage was just as good, maybe better than Hogan, depending on how you feel. And, Savage gets over, he becomes the champ, and the whole thing with Elizabeth, and the mega powers, and all that, and that was just a natural rivalry. That really was. And I think that's something that's missing in today's wrestling. And it doesn't matter if it's WWE or New Japan or Ring of Honor or Impact. Natural rivalries have to come. And what I mean by that, folks, is it cannot be rivalries that the booker and the promoter create and it's like, okay, you guys are going to just feud with each other. I don't care why, you're just going to feud with each other. Natural rivalries, to me, are when you have two individuals, or sometimes more, depending on what it is, and they just, every single time they face each other, they go. It clicks. It works. And that's what we need more of, are natural rivalries. If we could get more of those, I think we're going to be having a lot more fun talking about wrestling. But that's just me. All right. Before we wrap it up, let's get into some plugs, Fro, because I know you've been dying to talk.
Yeah.
Follow the show on Twitter. We're at Wrestling Show 11. Join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. Just type that in the search bar and you're right there. And if you can't find it, don't worry. Click on the link in the description box and you just add yourself and you're right into the group. Visit the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts, where you guys can help out this show. And believe me, folks, the money that I get, it's not for living. It really isn't. I'm not trying to make my life off of podcasting, as much as I think that would be a lot of our dreams. It's just there for, for needs, for podcasting needs, Fro, what did you guys talk about this week on Another Digital Citizen?
We talked about something really, 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 really strange, and something really, really, really terrible. An organization that I have never talked about before. It's kind of a strange organization, to say it mildly. I don't know if you have heard of them, Common Sense Media?
Can't say I have, but it sounds like a group I might get behind.
Yeah, no, you will not.
No, I shouldn't. Okay.
They are terrible. But yeah, listen to our program and see why we thought it was Republican propaganda that shows us suddenly that they are Democrats. It's really, 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 really weird organization.
Now, do you mind if I ask you this?
Yes.
Because this coming Tuesday, the nominations for the Academy Awards are coming out. Are you guys going to talk about that next week?
We are going to talk about that next
I
week.
think you should. Because I think this is going to be a very interesting year for the Academy Awards.
We are definitely going to cover that.
Especially after what happened at the Golden Globes. I did not think Bohemian Rhapsody was going to win Best Picture Drama. I really didn't. But, we got a new episode coming up this weekend of Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast, where this week, Jim Boy Star and I, we discussed the 2004 Royal Rumble match. And that's actually a good segue into what we got coming up next week on that wrestling show, because it is the annual Royal Rumble preview show. As Fro and I are going to preview both NXT TakeOver Phoenix and the Royal Rumble, and we're going to give our predictions on all the matches, including the two big ones, the men's and the women's Royal Rumble match, as the road to WrestleMania begins in just 9 short days. So, on that note, thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. Once again, I want to thank AR Fox and Adrian Alanis from the Skulk for taking some time out to do an interview this week. Evolve 119 and 120 this weekend. Check it out. They are in Brooklyn and Queens, New York. If you can't get there, you can watch it on Club WWN. Everybody, have a good, safe weekend. Come back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
Thank you, Scuba Steve.
wrestle on?
Oh, wrestle on.
Wrestle on.